So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about some different things behind the scenes. So when we started scaling up and changing and pivoting and all of the things within the cookie world, I was baking these half-pound cookies. They were crazy. Direct to consumer was going wild. I remember the Good Morning America team reaching out to me. I thought it was crazy. I was featured in the New York Times. I did a pop-up in the Empire State Building. I was on Drew Barrymore. I did a food challenge at Food Network. I've done so many cool things that I probably don't tell you guys enough about all the fun things that I have been able to do. I'm not one to get so much on social media and kind of say it, so that I don't know, I feel like it's such a hard place to come out and say the things that you've done and boast about yourself. So it's a strange feeling. Throughout all of those things of how the cookies really took off once I built my website and took on the bakery. And I think at my height, I was at 49 employees, and that was in a 2,500 square foot facility. And this was pre-COVID times. And then COVID happened, and we wound up shutting down for about 2 weeks. Juan and I had some savings that we paid our employees with our savings for those 2 weeks when we were trying to figure out what was going on. I know it was, obviously other people in other states, New York was really locked down. I remember being at home and almost like opening the blinds and thinking you're gonna see zombies walking outside or something. I don't know, it was just such a weird time. I'm gonna look back at this and tell my daughter these like stories because she was so little to try and like, it was just so crazy. And I got a phone call. My rep from New York State Department of Ag reached out and he said, we know manufacturing is super important for everybody, even though maybe it's not baby formula, but it's super important that the manufacturers and food and different things are staying open. I said, okay, we're gonna reopen. Anybody that feels comfortable to come back to work, and all of our staff did, and everybody came back. And I can tell you, it was such a crazy pivot where it was sad because I have had plenty of friends that had businesses that were struggling so hard to go through things. We hired friends, we hired family, people to come in that were able to help build the brand even more. COVID just really brought a lot of people together with cookies. It was really fun in such a weird time. I had neighbors buying it for other neighbors and putting it into their mailboxes. The notes that I would leave in boxes, we were doing, I can't even tell you, thousands of orders a day. And to bake a half-pound cookie, to be able to fulfill these orders was just so crazy. And it was great, it was amazing, it was so much fun, but also on the other side of it, there were people that were angry that I would sell out fast. It was like, they would have it in their shopping cart, but if they didn't check out fast enough and the other person did, they got the cookie and then they would send me hate mail. So, I mean, it was crazy and fun. As I was doing these things, that really was the first step of the crazy flavors that I started coming out with. It was because I would go distributor to get my items, so my sugars, my different things, and maybe I would order 50 pounds of whatever it was as an inclusion, and they only had 20 pounds because everybody's kind of being shorted, other places aren't being opened, all of these things. So I would say, okay, well, my intent was to make the cookie this one way, and I don't have enough items. So I would look around and I'd say, okay, we're gonna throw all these random things and make these new flavors. And that kind of took on its own world of these really fun flavors, and then really looking, going into the stores and looking for fun ideas and really turning things a little bit differently. So I think to date, I'm over 8,000 flavors that I've done in my half-pound cookies, and just this week I even did more. So every time I think there's no way that I can come up with any more flavors, I always do. It's fun, it's exciting, and I love that part of my business still. We still do our half-pound drops. I know many people know us for the protein cookies that you'll see on the shelves, but I still do that direct to consumer. I still do really fun things. I do Billy Joel's holiday gifting for his friends and family every year. I think this is my 4th year of doing it, and to have that they're looking forward to that product coming to them. And there's a lot of companies that use us every year. I've done something really cool with the NFL. I did something with the Brooklyn Nets. I did Showtime. I did a wrap-up for their TV show. I've done so many cool things, and I love that side of my business because it's always more creative in the moments of me making it. Whereas now the shelf-stable cookies and other items take a lot longer of R&D. It's not just so much the eggs, butter, and sugar that I do in the direct-to-consumer cookie, those crazy half-pounders. So through COVID and through the craziness, we're in Long Island and we were having so many orders going out every single day. And at one point, a whole truck went missing. If anybody's on Long Island, they remember a story that they had a United States postal worker that was not delivering and was just throwing packages. Apparently one of mine was part of that. And it was just a crazy, crazy time. And one of our workers, as they were boxing, they said, geez, Karen, a lot of these are local customers that are placing orders. What do you think about us delivering them? And then that sparked an idea. Juan and I, we used my sister as a resource. And my sister lives about 8 hours away, and she would drive up during the week, and we would work through how we were going to do this. I was born and raised in California. My family's from Long Island, but I'm not. I don't really know Long Island that well, of North Shore, South Shore. You Long Islanders are very like Suffolk, Nassau, like it's very different. But in Long Island itself, there's a main road. It's called the LIE 495, and it's a very big highway. So the problem is a lot of zip codes go below that. So as we were trying to figure out how are we going to deliver, we wound up figuring out how to actually map it out and then make the routes. At that point, I think we hired drivers, no experience. Nobody knew what we were doing. We were all just figuring things out. And we bought 5 or 6 Mercedes-Benz. And it was really fun. It was still the weirdest time during COVID. These were actually the shirts that the delivery guys would wear, and girls. And, we were still wearing masks. And sometimes I'm still baking. The cookies are warm, just packaged. And at that time, I don't even know if I was actually packaging them in the machine yet. I was one by one Ziploc closing them and then placing a sticker on what the flavor was. And then we would pull out the names of the customers, their addresses, and I would use a system that would help me plot the addresses. So I would use that, and then we would pull that out for 6 different drivers. Maybe, I can't even remember. I'd have to ask how many packages each driver would do. They would start early in the morning and they would start delivering. It was wild. It was such a fun, crazy time. But then towards the end of COVID, that people started going back to work and business was still amazing. This was we were in the Empire State Building, things like that were still going on. But Juan knew that the pivot was going to change from people being home all the time and having the accessibility to be on the website, and really saw other companies that were doing what I had started really was pulling from my business, and how important it was to pivot and being ahead of it before that kind of everybody went back to work. Before that even happened, we were months into R&D to figure out, because we knew the consumer wanted our product, but how do we get it in a shelf-stable way that they would be able to enjoy it when they went to their local store and get the product. So that's really where the shelf-stable blossomed from, was knowing that this COVID wasn't going to last forever. Even though the business was great before COVID, we were doing really, really well, but other people had seen that. I've seen people, I have a lot of trademarks. I own a lot of the trademarks and the names and things. And I think it's funny, a lot of people were calling the same name of my cookies. I call them different funny names because I didn't want to get trademark infringement by saying things like Oreo. So I would say OO, like Oreo. I would use just different names like that, and I would see other people doing it as well. So I guess imitation is the best form of flattery. So that's kind of how everything started on us figuring out we needed to do a shelf-stable cookie. So that was a little bit about the growth of my cookie dealer itself. It was unintentional in the sense of how it started, and then doing all the deliveries ourselves. It's so crazy. And now we are international, and I know a lot of our buyers all over the world may not even know the half-pound story, because they're only kind of seeing maybe a protein toast or pastry on the shelf, and they don't even know like really how this all started, and that I still do those really fun cookies. Holidays, I still do these holiday gifting, different things like that. I love it. I don't think that I will ever stop doing that. It is something that a lot of families, I feel like, use that to, I don't know, come together a little bit. So I'm glad that you guys are coming together to listen to me, and I hope that I'm giving you a little bit of my background that you guys are excited to hear. So follow along and do all the things, subscribe and tell people, and yeah, comment.